Hey guys, I've got about 11 minutes or so before I have to clock back in to work from lunch. Yeah, my lunch was kind of at 12:45, and it wasn't because, I was late for lunch. No. It was mostly because they scheduled me 8:45 to 4:30 today, so yeah, pretty much I'm I'm kind of, 6.75, 6 hours, 0.75 minutes, or something like that. I don't really know. So 6.75, if you will, as far as the hour for today. But anyway, I wanted to come out and do something I have not done yet, and it's kind of new. Usually, we review. Well, usually like these people, these fellow fans, bronies, picker sisters, whatever. We usually are the ones that, like them, just come out and review and discuss and talk about certain episodes and stuff, or scenarios and theories. But I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Now, I know it's probably not the first time it's been done, but I thought I'd come out here and kind of discuss, kind of give you my thoughts and a bit of a review of possibly the last Rift Café related movies, shorts, whatever you want to call it, that the members of the Rift Café have done. Now, we know that Firebrand, Silver Quill, Golden Fox, Keyframe, Voice of Reason, Thespia, we all know that once in a while they'll create and upload a non-review video, basically like a little short, a featurette, if you will, a little short to entertain us with either an original story or a parody or something or whatever. We know that they do that. We know that for all of us that follow them, that they do that on occasions, along with, giving us reviews of episodes and whatnot as well. But every now and then they will give us something good. Toon Critic, for example, actually gave us a saga doing some of his Toon Critic, Golden Fox, and a few others would actually do sagas. They would do a bit of a review, but then but then most of that video will be part of the saga, part of the story arc that they're going through. And they're pretty damn good when they want to be. Even Lighting Bliss, who's a part of this one I want to talk about, has done her own versions as well, on more than one occasion. And I have to say that, that every single one that you could watch, if you give it a chance, it actually turns out to be pretty good. It really does. Now I know I'm 3.5 minutes in, so I'm going to get right to the review here. And I want to kind of review and give a recommendation, a overview review to the recent video done by Rift Cafe member Lighting Bliss and fellow Rift Cafe member of hers, Aeon of Dreams. It's called a Euphoric Heartswarming Tale or something like that. A Euphoric Heartswarming Eve or whatever. And let you know there will be spoilers in case you haven't seen it. But this shows you how good these stories can be. Because the one thing I've learned with the Rift Cafe is that depending on whether or not the story will call for it, they will almost allow anything to take place if they find it appropriate or suitable, and not offensive to anybody. They will actually go beyond. I wouldn't say go beyond certain limits, but they will actually incorporate situations in their in the reviews and stuff, or in the stories outside of the reviews, that you wouldn't think they would add in, that you would think them being fans of MLP like we are, you think would try to stay close to what MLP is about, because we have never seen an MLP whatsoever, or as far as we know, I should say. We've never seen anything like what they present to us at times they present to us, as they incorporate into the stories. But with Euphoric Hearthwarming Eve, Euphoric Hearthwarming with Lighting Bliss, Aeon, and the rest of the members of the Rift Café, with a few exceptions that I didn't notice, like Silver Quill and I think Voice, although they could have been there in the background. Euphoric Hearthwarming was actually a pretty good little short. But it was a pretty good, if not superb, little holiday short. Basically, long story short, if you will. Lighting Bliss basically wants to spend Christmas alone. She wants to spend Hearthwarming Christmas by herself. And you can kind of tell right off the bat that even though she's planning to do this by sitting down and watching Krampus, if you will, the horror movie, the recent Christmas horror movie, that even though she's planning on doing this, that she's kind of, well, how do I put this? She's kind of debating. You can kind of tell that she's kind of debating the situation. Like she's kind of conflicted. You can kind of see the confliction there. Like, she wants to do this. She wants to spend Christmas by herself and, watch her movie, kind of relax, get a mental break, if you will, after all that she's gone through over the past year. But yet you can see she's kind of conflicted of whether or not this is a good idea, or she should be spending Hearthwarming Christmas, if you will, with her fellow Rift Cafe friends and members. And it isn't until Aeon comes into the picture, and basically, her and Aeon, in case you don't know, have a very unique friendship, a tolerable friendship. And what that means is, Aeon is one of the members of the Rift Cafe that, some of his fantasies, some of what he's into and stuff is very, very questionable. He's more of the Rift Cafe member, in my opinion, that is kind of PG-13. He's on the borderline of R, but he's basically on the borderline of a rated T, of the T rating in a video game and the M rating of a video game. He's basically a PG-13 like character, because he's into certain things that, even though his fellow Rift Cafe members would find questionable, they are willing to accept. And he comes into the picture, and obviously, like I say, he and Bliss have a tolerable relationship to where, she's not gonna, to where, just like before, when he's, kind of inserted himself into the picture, she kind of tolerates the fact that he's there, even though she tries to, get him out of the picture. She tries to basically say, hey, like in one video she did with a Rose Petal, she tried to get, Aeon shows up when they mention philosophy, and she tries to get him out of there by saying, I'm not putting up at your blank today, or as the Fluttershy thing that they use, I'm not putting up with your yay today, if you will. So, yeah, again, very tolerable relationship, but in the end, he always finds a way to talk her into letting him help her or be part of something, even though she doesn't necessarily, want him to do so. She doesn't necessarily want him to do that. And in the end, basically what he wants to do is give her a heartwarming present. Something that, as he puts it in the story, is PG, is very PG contented, is kind of basically PG, is basically a PG situation. It's high PG, if you will. Very high PG, borderline to PG-13, but very high PG, or high PG rating. And as he puts it, will keep her marriage safe, because one of the things, if you are a fan of the Rift Café, that you will discover is a lot of these members are married in real life. And one of the characters of the Rift Café that Lighting Bliss is married to in real life is a Dragon Ball Z inspired character called Sub-Zero. So anyway, Aeon, basically, from what I've noticed in a lot of his appearances with Lightning and any other characters, is he has a way with words. He knows how to say the right things at the right moments, or he says the right things when necessary, because he knows that's what these characters need to hear, whether they trust what he's about to do or they don't. So basically, his gift to Lightning is to do a fusion with each other. Of course, Lightning points out that she did this not once but twice with Toon Critic, but Aeon basically says, yes, you did, but you didn't do it this way. You didn't use this kind of fusion spell when you did it. Because when Toon Critic and Lightning fused together, they were still aware of each other's existence. They were both kind of in the driver's seat, and all that. So it wasn't like a complete, okay, we're an entirely different new character with a different personality like Fusion that's almost independent of themselves or kind of separate from us or anything. It was more like, hey, we're in the driver's seat, we're both in the driver's seat at the same time, we're both in control, all of this fusion, da-da-da. Well, Aeon basically says, hey, look, yeah, you did that, but you didn't do it in a way, or you didn't use a certain part of the spell that would have made it a lot better and more helpful in a sense. And basically what he wants to do with the fusion, I guess, with a fusion with her, is to kind of, I guess, help her to come out of her shell a little bit more, help her to be more expressive, more exotic. So long story short, what happens is she accepts the invitation by him to at least try this to see what will happen. And in the end, they end up fusing into this new character called Euphoria. And you could tell that it's a blend of the two because she's a lot taller than Lightning, and a bit about the same size or a bit taller than Aeon. She's got basically rainbow hair, but with the mane coloring, or the coloring of the mane is the same as Aeon. Her tail is the same as Lightning with the rainbow on the end of that. Her skin color, of course, is Aeon's color. She's got Lightning's golden heels, if you will, or hoof heels, and she has her goggles. The difference is she has, I guess you could say, dark eyeshadow or mascara or whatever in place. And she's more, and you can tell she's a hybrid of both. Both basically, she's a hybrid of both. She's got that seductive, she's got more of that flirtatious, seductive, very mature, risky. Basically you see that she has traits from both. She has a risky, flirtatious, seductive, snarky. Well, not totally snarky, but very she's very flirtatious, seductive, a little snarky, a little smart mouth kind of deal. Attitude, and you can tell she gets that from Aeon, but she also has that very sympathetic, understanding, is deep down a very sweet kind of, that deep down is, beyond what you see is a very sweet character. You can tell she gets that part, like I said, it's sympathetic, the sympathetic, the sweet, the kind of sympathetic sweetness, the congratulations, the kind of like respectable, happy for others kind of attitude from Bliss. And what makes this unique is because this is seen in a lot of other fusions as well in stories, is that even though she's entirely different and almost separate from her own, even though Euphoria is her own character, she is aware of where she came from and who created her. And through a mental kind of connection with Lightning and Aeon being in the, passenger seat, they're able to hear their friends express their gratitude and love for those two and for what they help them out and what they help them and how they help them and how they help them with problems throughout the year and vice versa. So overall, yeah, so overall, they both kind of, Aeon and Lightning both kind of, you know, hear the friends talk very positively about them and how they've helped them out and stuff in the past. And so you kind of see them talking about them, friends talking about them and how they've helped them out in this past year and vice versa. That it ends with both of them still asleep. Well, at least Lightning sleeping on top, or on the side of Aeon, and Aeon thanking her for letting this happen. So overall, though, I have to say this is a very good short, done by the Rift Café, done by everybody involved: Lighting Bliss, Aeon, Thespio, his fiance. I can't think of her name right now. I do apologize. Tune Critic, Dr. Wolf, you name it. Those involved with it really did a great job here, and I highly recommend watching this. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you think. It's definitely one of the best animation-wise and storytelling-wise that I think we've gotten from the Rift Cafe in quite some time. So, highly recommend it. Check it out when you can. I'll provide a link down below. And check out the Rift Cafe and its members and their reviews of not just My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, but other shows and stuff that they may be intrigued in. Because they don't just do it as the Pony OCs, in the Pony OC forms, if you will, or in the animated Pony OC forms, if you will, but they also do it as themselves, as the on-camera selves. So, again, I highly recommend checking this one out. I definitely think you will like it. And all I can say is thank you, Lightning, thank you, Aeon, and thank you, people at the Rift Cafe, for giving us a great year of reviews and storytelling. And what a way to kind of cap it off. And that's all I'm going to say, folks. So let me know what you all think down below, and I'll talk to you all later. I got to get back into work.